The Viking Age is famous for its bold warriors and daring sailors, but beneath the surface lies a world of dark and disturbing traditions that will shock you. One of the most striking Viking traditions was the slave girl cremation, a funeral ritual documented in vivid detail by Ahmad ibn Fadlan, a 10th-century Arab traveler and diplomat. When a prominent Viking leader died, their funeral was a major event designed to showcase their wealth, power, and reverence for the afterlife. Vikings believed in an elaborate cosmology where the afterlife mirrored the social hierarchy of the living world. The funeral rites were meant to ensure the deceased's safe passage to the next life, often Valhalla or a similar realm of honor and glory. In these ceremonies, a slave girl, referred to as a thrall, was sometimes chosen to accompany her master into the afterlife. This act reflected the Vikings' belief in servitude extending beyond death, where the thrall would continue to serve her master. The process began with the selection of a volunteer from among the slaves, though the concept of volunteering is debated by historians, as coercion and societal pressure likely played significant roles. The ritual itself unfolded over several days of elaborate preparations, feasting, and drinking. The community came together to honor the deceased, with the funeral serving as both a farewell and a display of status. The chosen thrall was treated as a central figure in the ceremonies, though her role was one of profound tragedy. She was given alcohol to dull her senses and subjected to degrading and violent rituals intended to prepare her for the journey to the afterlife. Finally, the thrall was killed, typically through strangulation or stabbing, by designated ritual leaders. Her death was seen as a necessary sacrifice to ensure her master was not alone in the next life. Her body, along with the deceased leaders, was placed on a ship or a specially constructed pyre. The ship was then set ablaze in a dramatic spectacle, symbolizing the passage of the dead to the other world. Some scholars argue that his depiction may have been influenced by cultural biases or misunderstandings, while others affirm that archaeological evidence, such as ship burials and grave goods, aligns with aspects of his description. These funerals reflect the Vikings' deep reverence for the dead and their belief in the continuity of life beyond death, albeit through rituals that to modern eyes seem brutal and unforgiving. The Viking Berserkers were legendary warriors, feared for their ferocious and uncontrollable rage in battle. Clad in bear or wolf skins, they charged into the fray with wild eyes and relentless energy, appearing more like beasts than men. Their frenzied attacks and seeming immunity to pain made them terrifying opponents, leaving a trail of destruction that cemented their place in Viking lore. These warriors were believed to enter a trance-like state known as the Berserker Gang, which made them fearless and unstoppable, a primal force on the battlefield. Their power was surrounded by mystery. Some believed the animal skins they wore imbued them with the strength of the creatures they represented, transforming them into avatars of wild, untamed nature. Others theorized that they consumed psychoactive substances, such as hallucinogenic mushrooms or potent herbs, to enter their frenzy. While evidence for this remains inconclusive, it reflects the awe and fear surrounding their seemingly superhuman abilities. Berserkers embodied chaos and primal energy, earning both reverence and terror among their people. However, their rage was not without consequence. Berserkers' uncontrollable fury sometimes turned inward, leading them to attack allies or wreak havoc within their communities. This unpredictability made them as dangerous at home as they were in battle, and their violent ways began to clash with the changing values of Scandinavian society. As Christianity spread, the Berserkers' pagan rituals and chaotic nature became incompatible with the new emphasis on order, discipline, and piety. By the end of the Viking Age, Berserkers had faded into history, their violent traditions no longer fitting in a Christianized world. Yet their legend endures, capturing imaginations with tales of warriors who blurred the line between man and beast. Were their powers born of their own ferocity, ancient rituals, or something else entirely? The truth remains a mystery, adding to the enduring allure of these fearsome fighters. Viking tattoos remain a fascinating and mysterious aspect of their culture, adding another layer to the image of these legendary warriors. The first known mention of Viking tattoos comes from Ahmad ibn Fadlan, who encountered Vikings along the Volga River. He described them as being covered in tattoos from head to toe, adorned with intricate designs that reflected their identities and told powerful stories. These tattoos were deeply symbolic, often featuring motifs from nature, such as trees, serpents, and wolves, which highlighted the Vikings' connection to the earth and their spiritual beliefs. Some designs symbolized achievements in battle, serving as marks of courage and valor, while others depicted runes or protective symbols to ward off harm. Using simple tools and plant-based inks, the process of tattooing was both an art and a test of endurance, reflecting the toughness and resilience of the people who bore them. Beyond their personal meanings, tattoos likely served a social purpose, indicating a person's rank, role, or status within Viking society. Warriors in particular wore these symbols with pride, using their tattoos to display strength and importance. For them, tattoos were not just decorative, but a declaration of their place in a world defined by honor, bravery, and loyalty. Through these permanent markings, Vikings connected the physical and spiritual worlds, weaving their past into the present. Their tattoos served as living narratives, celebrating their connection to nature, their gods, and their accomplishments. The next Viking tradition of ship burials beautifully blended life, death, and belief in the afterlife, reflecting the profound spirituality of this seafaring culture. In the cold, misty lands of the Vikings, death was not seen as an end, but as a journey to a new world. For the wealthiest and most important individuals, grand ships served as their final resting places, symbolizing both their high status in life and their passage to the afterlife. These ships, central to Viking life, were believed to carry the deceased to Valhalla, the great hall where warriors were honored after death. Lavishly adorned with treasures, weapons, and even animals, the burial ships were filled with items meant to aid the departed on their journey. The grandeur of these burials reflected the significance of the individual, showcasing their power, wealth, and the reverence of their community. The ritual sometimes included human sacrifices, with living individuals offered to accompany the dead into the afterlife. This practice, rooted in Norse beliefs, ensured that the deceased had everything they might need for their journey and their place in eternity. These sacrifices highlighted the Vikings' deep conviction in the interconnectedness of life, death, and spiritual continuity. Often, the ships were set ablaze and sent to sea, creating a powerful and haunting final tribute. The burning ship, silhouetted against the horizon, symbolized the transition of the soul to the next world. This ritual celebrated the strength, bravery, and enduring legacy of the Vikings' greatest warriors, offering them not just a burial, but a passage into legend. Bone ornamentation held a significant place in Viking culture, serving as more than just tools or jewelry. It was a powerful statement. In the cold and rugged lands of the Vikings, these items reflected their deep connection to battle, death, and honor. Bone ornaments were often carved with intricate designs, symbols, and runes, imbuing them with meaning and marking their cultural and spiritual significance. The Vikings believed that wearing items made from the bones of their fallen enemies was a way to honor their bravery and strength. These ornaments, crafted with exceptional skill, became symbols of power, courage, and victory. The bones of animals were also used for practical tools, but human bones, especially those of defeated rivals, held a deeper, almost mystical significance. By wearing such items, a warrior was thought to absorb the strength and courage of the fallen, a belief that tied personal power to the spoils of battle. These ornaments also served a more visceral purpose: intimidation. Displaying a bone ornament taken from a vanquished enemy was a bold proclamation of strength and resilience. It was a reminder of the wearer's prowess and a warning to anyone who might challenge them. This practice reflected the Vikings' understanding of battle as not only a physical confrontation, but a psychological one. In rare cases, this belief extended to ritualistic cannibalism, where consuming human flesh was thought to transfer the enemy's strength or spirit to the consumer. While such practices were not widespread, they underscored the Vikings' deep association between life, death, and the belief that the past shaped the future. For the Vikings, bones were more than remnants. They were potent symbols of power, victory, and the cycle of life and death. This kind of cannibalism was often seen in ancient cultures and tribes who thought that by eating the flesh of a defeated foe, they could gain their abilities or spiritual power. Evidence of ritualistic cannibalism has been found in burial sites, where archaeologists discovered cut marks on human bones. These marks suggest that the bodies were intentionally dismembered, which could have been part of a ritual or a symbolic act, instead of just a way to survive. However, the meaning of these findings is still debated. Some experts think these marks show ritual dismemberment, while others believe they were made out of desperation during times of famine, when people had no other food and resorted to eating human flesh. No matter the reason, the practice of cannibalism, whether for ritual or survival, reminds us of the extreme actions people have taken in difficult times, mixing dark history with beliefs and desperation. Viking marriages were much more than the union of two people. They were significant events that tied families together and reinforced social bonds. The process involved careful negotiations over dowries and bride prices, which could include land, livestock, or valuable goods. These arrangements were designed not only to ensure the couple's financial security, but also to enhance the status and influence of the families involved, making marriages an important opportunity for forging alliances and gaining respect within the community. The wedding ceremony itself was rich with tradition and symbolism. One pivotal moment was when the bride was presented with a sword, symbolizing the transfer of her family's protection to her new husband. This act underscored the husband's role as her protector and the responsibility he now carried to care for her and their future household. The exchange reflected the deeply communal and practical values of Viking society, where marriage was as much about survival and security as it was about personal commitment. The celebrations that followed were as grand as the occasion demanded, often lasting for several days. These wedding feasts were filled with food, drink, and storytelling, bringing together the entire community to honor the couple. Far from being mere entertainment, these gatherings were vital for fostering connections and integrating the newlyweds into the social fabric. Guests shared old sagas and legends, connecting the present to their shared cultural heritage. Viking weddings were more than personal milestones. They were community events that blended tradition, storytelling, and family bonds. They reinforced the values of protection, unity, and continuity, ensuring that the couple's union was firmly rooted in the larger narrative of Viking society. The Raven banner, held high by Viking warriors, was a striking symbol of power and divine favor. This wasn't just any banner. It featured the raven, sacred to Odin, the chief god in Norse mythology. To the Vikings, the raven represented victory, wisdom, and foresight, qualities they desperately sought in battle. The banner's presence was believed to inspire courage in their ranks, while striking fear into their enemies. According to legend, the banner's movement could predict the outcome of a fight. If it flew strong and steady, victory was near. If it faltered or fell, defeat was imminent. The image of the raven, its black wings spread wide against the sky, was a potent and intimidating sight, a reminder of the Vikings' connection to their gods and their belief in fate. For those who carried it into battle, the banner was more than a rallying symbol. It was a link to Odin's blessing. The Raven banner's history stretches back to the height of the Viking Age, when Norse raiders ruled the seas and spread fear across Europe. The banner was believed to possess magical properties, further emphasizing its importance. Stories of its power and the victories it accompanied cemented its status as a revered emblem of Norse culture and faith. Though the Viking Age has passed, the Raven banner endures as a symbol of the bravery and devotion that defined the Norse warriors. It remains a vivid reminder of their fierce spirit, their trust in the gods, and their belief that fate guided them through life and battle alike. The blood eagle was a terrible way of execution described in Old Norse stories, meant to strike fear into enemies. This cruel ritual was saved for those who had wronged the Norse people. The victims' ribs were cut from the spine, and their lungs were pulled out and spread wide to look like wings. This painful act showed the vengeance of the one carrying it out, a way to show power and scare others. The blood eagle is often linked to Viking warriors, who were known for their strength and fierceness in battle. The ritual was usually saved for the worst enemies, like traitors or those who caused great harm. However, it's not clear if the blood eagle was something that really happened or a myth.